Hello, thank you for joining this masterclass. Today we will have our guest from Mexico. He's online now, he's live. He will showcase how he is using the GPT models to accelerate the process of marketing, how he's like, he will show us how he create a workflow based on his experience for 20 years of marketing. And let's talk to him because it's very interesting what he has to show. We have here also Fabio and Daniel with us. We will be also asking questions to Marco. So, hello, Marco. How are you? Are you there?
Hi guys, how you doing? Can you listen to me?
Yes, yes, perfectly.
Awesome.
Here we can see your screen.
Awesome. Can you see my screen also?
Yes.
Perfect. Hi, so shall we begin? Do you have any questions before we start?
Well, the floor is yours.
Yes. Yeah, the word is yours.
We're a little bit late, so I guess it's just the right time to just jump right into that.
Awesome. So well, thank you very much for having me here. I am starting with a very panicking what's the name? Slide. The idea here is just like for you to guys to leave the panic behind. I know every time we start talking about how AI can be like erupting into the like creative process, people tends to get a bit nervous. Like the idea of this very nervous slide is just like for you guys to leave it behind and start enjoying the process. So first, who I am, I'm Marco Mendoza. I'm the digital marketing agency founder and owner. So definitely, I do want to accelerate the extension of digital marketing agencies. I started with Wiserlink, a growth marketing agency established in Mexico City. We're specialized basically on lead generation. This agency basically started out of necessity. I came with my wife after running out of a massive 500% Venezuelan inflation, and basically was on my apartment. The landlord came to me and told me like, so what is that you do? I told him, well, what is that you need? And he basically told me that he needed a website for his company, and basically that was the way this agency started. This was my first, like the headquarters of our very little company. Not many post-its, not many things to do at the time. Thankfully, we grew a large enough team, a very, very successful team. And we have been managing clients such as like AT&T, Amazon, Clarion, Fujifilm, Kia, Hilti, Hyundai, Ogilvy. We work with many large agencies also in the past. And these are just like some of the large clients we work with. As we are a growth marketing agency, we focus mainly on like medium-sized or small-sized companies. I don't put them here because like for sure you wouldn't know who they are. So basically, since the moment this path started, I have been looking like this, not all the time, but like many days. And so basically, what's the role and the journey of my agency? First, like basically, my role in the agency has always been solving problems. Like basically, it's like solving a problem after another problem. Like from the very beginning, it was like just remembering to send invoices to my clients that remember me to tell me like, dude, can you send the invoice, please? So like from there to actually take the responsibility of creating the first B2B digital strategy efforts for AT&T Mexico, which is like the largest telecommunication company in this planet. So like everything in between has always been like how to solve the problem at hand. So from the very beginning, as you can imagine, it's like we started growing bit by bit, and like very fastly, the agency owner becomes the bottleneck of growth of the company. Like everything needs to pass through you. You don't know how to leverage these responsibilities. Very difficult to delegate. but you really want to grow. So next step is like we started designing and implemented processes, getting consultants, implementing project management system, implementing CRM for process blueprints, implementing a lot of technology and giving a lot of structure and trying to standardize a lot of processes. Third phase basically was like designing and implementing automation. So once we had this, like we had our project management systems and CRM blueprints, it was like jumping into like, okay, let's automate this to make things faster and more efficient and everything will get solved. But still, like it wasn't the company I dreamt of. Like we were like kind of very slow to launch quick top of the funnel growth campaigns. It'll take like for us, and we are kind of fast. It'll take from 5 to 8 weeks from receiving a brief. Second part is like very difficult to achieving client success to launch. So success to launch for us is like if we commit to a date, we launch on that date or previous to the date. So it was like basically 54%, like roughly that number. Why? Because sometimes like we built everything, then presented the campaign, and we were like sure that was like the most amazing campaign in the world, and the client will say like, well, yeah, maybe this or like this part I don't like it, and then go back and forth and back and forth. You'll know how this works, and we failed to be able to launch on or to have like this success to launch on time, and then not being like really able to correctly translate the buyer persona message. So we'll have like 37% return rate on the first presentation. So basically I was feeling like this, like, not finding a way, like trying, like standardize things, then jump into process design, then like going deep and deep and deep. It's like, it was just like, at some moment it felt that it was just like impossible. It's just like, well, this is the way it is. And you gotta do what you gotta do. It's just like, let everything free and see how it goes. But for a control freak like me, it's too much to take. So then AI appeared and everything got solved. Well, not really, but actually a lot of things improved. And I'm going to share with you part of our tale. But first, and I think this is very relevant because it's like where like our industry is coming from. It's not a history lesson. It's just going to be very short. But it's basically like as we see it, because we started seeing things that we are doing right now in the growth marketing world, which is like actually like pushing sales as fast as you can with the least amount of resources possible to increase sales as fast as you can. So we started like breaking down like these, like where everything came from, how it converted into something else, and then how we started doing things that the way they were done in the 1700s and 1900s. So I'm gonna be very quick here. So first is like what I call like the fairy tale era. So like 1700s to 1900s, magic pills. No lawyers, nobody to tell us like you shouldn't be doing that, or to the product people you shouldn't be launching this kind of products. So it's like basically everything was based on like text based, usually for newspapers. It was a very clear division of labor, like copywriters did a job, and then they got together with the artists and they created some illustrations. A lot of times the owner was the same, was the advertiser. There was like some kind of simple formula. It's like you have a pain point, you agitate the pain point, and then you present a solution, and and some variations of that. And the measurement usually was very simple. Why? Because you publish something in the newspaper, and you'll say something like, if you really want this product, just send us your money to this address, and we'll send you the product back. So it was like kind of fairly easy to measure. So it was stuff like this. So we have like these arsenic wafers, which is like some kind of soap. So just like wash your face with arsenic and things are gonna be tip top. Or maybe with this other amazing sulfur soap. So you'll wash your face and like maybe erase your complete face. So basically was like something like this, like I'm using this to exaggerate the point, but like basically was like things around this world. So, and I love this part here. It's like if you can be able to read this one here, physicians speak on its high terms. So it's like, even physicians say that sulfur and arsenic are amazing for your face. So the next part is like ad agencies. Everything that was like based on ad agencies, like very well focused on the brand. Television came, so like the skill set jumped from copy to storyboards. DDB introduced, like, well, there's a lot of talk about it, but like for what I found, as like DDB introduced the concept of the creative team. So now it's like we have a team, we have a brief, we have a workshop, we have brainstorms, and from that, the creation will come. And the thing here is like the measurement of all of this became extremely complicated because it was not as straightforward as it used to be. I'm having something here. Okay. So it wasn't as straightforward as it used to be. So it became more difficult for finance to understand, like company finance to understand where their money was going. So then the digital, let's say, age came. So the first thing is like large advertising started using online as another mass media channel by using banner advertisement on like space on website portals. So it was just like transforming these large portals into something like basically banner advertising. Next stage was like Google Meta programmatic buying made it like extremely easy for like small agencies and company owners to start doing something that's like do-it-yourself advertising. So in that part, like what I saw, like by researching, is like a lot of ugly advertising came out, because like there was no agencies, there was no creative process. It was just like somebody that really wanted to sell something, just put themselves out there. And at the very beginning, and for some years, and actually like in some verticals, it's kind of easy to make it happen. I mean, it's getting more and more complicated, but like if you could buy the keyword of the product that you're selling at a really good price, people will get to your web page and you'll start to get some level of revenue. So this part of the the online market started. It's like, okay, so it's kind of easy to get revenue with very few resources, and then this monster started, which is like what we all see, or most of us can see online. It's like, no, just like put some dollars here, buy some click funnels, get some subscribers, and you will get rich like immediately. It's like it's based on these concepts now, but like actually right now, hyper specialization of the digital channels with a scientific approach is making it very complicated for this do-it-yourself approach. So that's why growth marketing agencies like ours become relevant. It's just to help these companies push product as fast as you can with the least amount of resources in table. Because usually, like these small companies, they don't have a lot of resources, they don't have a lot of time. They need to get things going immediately. And going into a branding phase is like, for them, it's just like it doesn't work like that for them. So I mean, this whole story is like based on like explaining you guys like how everything like moved in order for this type of job to become like relevant right now. So it's like extremely focused on sales, extremely focused on growth, like can be like a huge amount of different channels, pay-per-click, SEO, outsearch, etc. Transactional creatives, like as you see here, like this kind of thing. And the first, I remember the first time I saw it, my creative team like proposed this to me, and I was like, dude, we're not gonna do that. That's awful. And they said like, well, let's A/B test it to see if if something works, and it actually works. It generates a lot of traffic. It's like is the easiest way to generate revenue, and they look awful, and it's like, yeah, but like, are we killing the brand? Are we damaging the brand with this stuff? And at the very beginning, actually, these type of clients, they're not interested in the brand. For them, it's like, dude, like if we don't have money, like we will disappear. So the only thing that is relevant is like how to get this thing going as fast as you can. So in these situations, like time is everything. So the last part of this is like these AI fairy tales, no? Which is like basically get an agency for $49, just start to like, generate copies and everything will get solved. And as you guys know, and as I know, it just doesn't work like that. It's like it seems that it's gonna get there at some point, but like right now, like actually, well, I'm sure you've worked and you play with this, and it's like it's just very difficult to get consistent results all the time. Sometimes you get like amazing stuff, but like you just cannot go and say like, okay, let's click on this stuff and it'll eventually generate something amazing to solve all of our problems. So it's like right now it's not there. So everything is like focused on fast deliverables, minimum effort, better results. Again, magic pills. No? And you get things like craft the perfect message in the blink of an AI and so on. So what's out there? Right now, there are around 6,000 AI startups. This is like from CV Insights. These are like around 6 AI startups that were founded between 2012 and 2022. And right now, for what I've heard, like I couldn't get my hands on like reliable data, but like it's like from the start of this year until now, there are like around 3,000 new AI startups out there. So let's call it like 10,000 startups out there waiting for us. And as a friend always say, BS or bull is always waiting for the naive. And at this moment of humanity, we kind of feel naive compared to these technologies. It's like if you feed them well and you have the good prompt and you click, and it's like how can you put up with this? But at the end of the time, at the end of the day, what I'm seeing is like if we see this if we focus only on getting one specific task solved, that doesn't solve the problem. We cannot just like throw a copy to the client and say like, well, there's your campaign. It doesn't work like that. So it's just like how we do compound on all of this knowledge that we have, on all of this information that we have, on all of this experience that we have, in order to take the maximum amount of, like not information, but like amazingness out of this stuff. So any entrepreneurs around? I'm gonna jump back here. Anyone here that wants to share some experience about like simple product ideas that they had from the early 2000s, like things like Dropbox, like anything that you want to share?
I remember I was thinking it would be nice to have an application that you can order a taxi and you can see where is the taxi. And then, for example, Uber appeared.
It became quite a thing.
Like normal, it's happening.
Yeah, exactly. So, for example, let's say something like that. This is just for the exercise. So let's say Uber. Like Uber right now is like if you want to get if somebody wants to get an Uber, they'll just download the application and just call you. But let's say 20 years ago. So 20 years ago, you as an entrepreneur, you will go to, like how to solve like this kind of problem. Like what is Uber? So, well, Uber, the only thing that people knew that was like Uber was like taxis, and that's it. So from the very beginning, let's say you launch this app, you started to share this app like online with friends. You had, let's say that you had some taxi friends and you share this with them, and the things get like, like 1 week passes by and it's like you have 500 subscribers, and these people is like buying, and then they're using this service like all the time, and it's like these things start to grow, and you're like this is your face, like oh my god, like you receive like text, you receive emails, people is telling you like, Erickson, this thing is just amazing, thank you so much, you're making my life amazing, and you're like hooked. It's like like this dream is coming true. Next step. So let's say, imagine a venture capital will fund your app with $10 million. And they tell you, you got 60 days to get 20,000 users. So what's the next step, you know? Because like this thing was growing, you know, in a beautiful state, but now you have this rush, and you definitely want this $10 million from a VC fund. So what's your next move, you know? And I've asked these questions to many entrepreneurs, and you know, even people from the industry, they are like, look, okay, one moment, like maybe, you know, and this process of like literally like not knowing where to go, because when time, you know, when the clock is ticking, and you need to get like this number, which you have never made before, you have no idea where to go. So let's say you say like, okay, I'm gonna get some technologies to get this done on my own. So this is a state of marketing technologies and media, like from a couple of years ago. Okay, so try to choose something from here. You got advertisement and promotion, content, social relations, commerce, like whatever, like where will you go? So you say like, damn, this is way too much for me. So maybe I'll get an agency. They will know what to do. Remember, physicians speak of it in high terms. So what kind of agency should I get? Like advertising agency, branding agency. It's like where do you have to go? And it's like, again, like now it's like 59 days and some hours. So maybe you end to the conclusion that you need a digital marketing agency, focus on growth and revenue share. Like, try to find one of those. So at the end here, the point that I'm trying to make is like the enemy is time. If you understand like the problem that a client like this has, and right now clients are not as willing to spend, you know, 6 months to receive a campaign. Like right now, like the clients that are growing like crazy, their time frames are ridiculously short. It's like we receive sometimes clients that tell us like we can pay you like this amount of money, but we need to break even in 90 days. It's like dude, like how can you do something like this? So how do you accelerate a process like this with the current way agencies create and deploy campaigns? So for these like specific type of clients, let's say, which are like most of the time growth marketing agency clients, it's like very abstract buyer persona because they don't really know how to communicate this information. So they will really try, but they don't know how to make it happen, and they don't have resources or time to hire a research agency to do this work for us. Then you get an unknown product. So let's say Uber in 2005, you'll say like, oh, I have this idea, Uber. Everyone will say like, what? It's like, no, like this this car sharing service, like nobody will share their car and put like somebody completely unknown on their car. It's like you have a completely unknown product called Uber, which like nobody knows, and then a category that people barely knows, which is like in innovation products. Usually what you get is like two categories united to create something more diluted. So from this, basically what we did like internally was saying like, okay, how should, you know, a workflow be, you know? So basically we took a little bit of, you know, like ad agencies, a little bit of like marketing agencies, a little bit of digital agencies, and created what we call our Frankenstein workflow. So this is a client brief, you have a workshop, this is during week 1. During week 2, we have a research process. It's like very compact. Then we have a client research debrief. We explain the client what we found. The client's like, oh, amazing, like everything looks amazing. We have brainstorm 1, brainstorm 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. Then we pass to asset creation, and then we present the campaign. And usually what we found is like, during all of this process, the clients are super hooked, super happy, like everything, oh, amazing, like this is such an amazing insight that you're sharing. Oh my God, like look what our competition is doing, like that's crazy, it's like we're super hooked. And when we show them the campaign, we realize that the best client feedback is the campaign feedback, because they will see that the person doesn't look like their buyer persona, that the copy is not gonna speak correctly to the buyer persona they want. So basically we have to do all of this work in order to get information on week between 5 and 8 to then redo our work. So this was a really bold question. It's like, why don't we present 10 campaign drafts instead of going for the perfect campaign presentation, which usually doesn't work? So how do we present 10 campaigns, 5 campaigns, 8 campaigns between 3 to 4 days from the moment we receive the brief or from the moment we have the workshop with the client? So at the very beginning, it just like sounded like completely nonsense. It's just like, well, copy pasting stuff from AI that won't make more sense, and all of that. And the discussion was like really, it didn't look like it was gonna go anywhere. So next, I'm gonna explain to you guys how we did a data-driven marketing workflow with AI to start getting very close to this complete nonsense idea that we had at the very beginning, and it's something that, in my opinion, and in the opinion of like most of our clients, of our creative team, it became some kind of blessing for this problem, to help this guy. So we call it end-to-end, creating a seven-stage campaign within 3 days. So here we have SEM ads. Like, as a growth marketing agency, we have developed something that works really good for us, which is like people that is looking for X, which is related to what our client has. It doesn't have to be specifically what our client has, but people that is in the paying phase. Like if a client, I'm going to show you right now, but if a client is selling something like, something for arthritis, or something, or product for, pain, in general, you don't need to just buy the brand keyword. You can be very broad, get really cheap clicks, and then get them into some sort of like 3-stage or 4-stage remarketing levels. There's like SEM, landing page, remarketing ads, level 1, landing page for remarketing 1, remarketing ads level 2, and so on. So this is the way we do it right now, and I'm going to show you the process, and then what we get out of this process. So first, it's a data hub. Like, creating a data hub, like, it sounds very complicated, but like, we actually started doing this with Google Spreadsheets. I'm going to show you how to do it on your own. So it's like company information, product information, buyer persona information, and with this we create a consultant. The consultant name, Mario, for some reason, no idea why. Then we went to BART. I'll explain why with BART. Actually, the main reason is because to expand on ideas, BART has a better database, because the problem with ChatGPT is not that it's before 2021, is that it's during this time there was a lot of changes on the search environment or the search world because of the pandemics. So you get a lot of, like, in our experience, we started to getting a lot of like contaminated or polluted data because of this. So then we started using BART. So this part basically is like, we have a product, we have a buyer persona, let's expand as much as we can with attributes that these people can have. Then we go to attribute selection, we take the most interesting profiles and attributes from this part. Then we go into ChatGPT-4 and start generating situations. This is basically taking like these attributes and then expanding and creating specific situations to start creating stories. Yeah. From these stories, basically we take them, the ones that are the most interesting, and then we start creating these like deliverables now. Any questions so far?
Well, really, the whole workflow. I've only got comments, not the questions. So
okay, perfect.
I think we'll get to that.
Awesome. So I'm going to give you a specific example with a client. I'm going to start jumping from screen to screen. So this is a client that we have, Cenegenics. They are the performance health age management leader in the industry, specifically in the States. They have like more than 43,000 clients over there, and they are, the leaders on this. They deliver something that is like preventive medicine, but focus on like very advanced and very expensive treatments. Basically, you get a team of people that is taking care of you, and it's like very highly professional people, and with the work of like specific biomarker tests and a lot of technology. They will help you to get all of this. Like it's basically Cenegenics uses precision medicine to get great results, increase stamina, lower stress levels, improve sleep, increase concentration and desire. So basically, when this client came to the company, they did their brief, then they opened and gave us all of the information about what they do. And the team was like this. It's like, what? It's like, we don't, like, why do we have to get this client? It's like, oh my God, like, no, again, like this client is so complicated. Like, how do we communicate this to people? They went online. Nobody was looking for this company. Nobody understood, like, nobody was searching for biomarkers or for like these very specific things that this client had. So it was just like starting from this situation. So what, like, with this client, we already were working on this workflow, but until this moment, like two things were not available or easily available, which was BART and ChatGPT-4, and those two, with the help of like some plugins, and specifically this one, which is like photorealistic from ChatGPT-4, like made everything change. So I'm gonna go super fast here and start jumping to other screens. So he is like, okay, feeding the data hub. Okay, so I'm gonna jump to this screen right here. Okay, so this is Google Spreadsheets. One thing that you should download from the extensions is this extension named GPT for Sheets and Docs. This is something that help us, with the creative team, because a lot of times, it's like, how do you generate a formula to solve X? So one of the things that it has, that you can actually add here text, like something like, I want to replace a word in a cell with a word from another cell, and it'll tell you exactly what's the formula that you need to use. So for creative teams that most of the time are not very into Excel, this helps a lot. So the first thing that we did was just like creating this data hub, and I'm showing you like this rough model, which it was like the second model that we have. So you can see that you don't need a developer team. You don't need, you don't need a lot of resources in order to make this happen. Honestly, it's as simple as I'm showing you right now. So you create these, let's say, spreadsheets. One is for product, the second one is for company, and like the information, it doesn't need to be like extremely advanced and complex information. All of this is just to generate a context. So we have general information about the company, we have company values, we have branding that is not used on these examples, company context and location, and so on. Then for us, we work a lot with lead generation products. So for us, like the sales stage are extremely important, because we need to generate content for the nurturing phases of this product. Last part is feeding the buyer persona. So we created a prompt, and this prompt basically brings three very interesting things. One is the consultants. So here's Mario. Mario is an engineer specialized in bioengineering. He's the research leader of a highly recognized market agency. Second, like all of this information that you can see here is actually fed from this process, and it creates these three things. These three things for us made a complete change. But you need to work this on ChatGPT 4. Like in the other models, like usually doesn't get close enough to what we want. So that's the first part. So when we create this project consultant, I'm gonna read to you like basically who our buyer persona became. So remember, we had a meeting with a client. Our team said like we didn't understood nothing from what the client said. Like what, like, is a woman, is a man, how old is she? Is she rich? No, she's poor. And I was like, damn man, like this project is gonna go to hell. And when you start to see, it's like it's because it's like very far from the world that these guys live in. We're talking about like something like 50-year-old woman, like very wealthy year-old woman in Mexico. So it's like there's no relationship between this woman and like our team, like most of the time. So if something came out like this, Camila is a 50-year-old woman with high purchasing power, belonging to the 10% of the population of Mexico. She works in a high executive position. Camila has normal signs of aging in her skin, hair. She's in early menopause. She has difficulties maintaining her performance in sports. Then it goes here. Camila has 3 children, a mother who is 76 age old. She's divorced and having recurrent thoughts related to disease prevention, and so on. Here, this one was like really spooky. She thinks that she does not want to end up depending on someone in her next few years for her minimal needs. She's terrified to what happened to her mom when she was 50 and she could no longer bath alone. Then like it keeps breaking it down to, and it shows that she's really afraid of the fact that she doesn't want, she wants to be independent when she's old, but she's really afraid because she's spending a lot of money on her mom because she doesn't want to send her to a retirement home. This is a super Mexican situation. And then she's expending a lot on her children and everything. So she's like making a lot of money, but like money is just like disappearing from her. And she's very worried because she knows that most probably she will live until she's 80 and she doesn't want to be a burden for their children. That was completely spooky. And we talked to the client. This is not the client, this is Camila, this is the person that we're creating right now. We talked to the client, we brought this information, and the first thing that she said was like honestly, like, how the hell did you understood this? Like where did you get this information from? We explained the whole process. This client was very confused, and she said like, when you're talking about like when you're explaining this, it's incredible because I'm thinking about like so many clients of us, and this took like 48 hours to be achieved. Right now, we can do this in like a couple of hours, in like 20, 30 minutes after we do this. And it's amazing. So next, give her a face. So we started giving a face. Why is this important? Because every time that you start getting information, you see her face and you start, it's an incredible process. You start to see how this, like what is worrying her. Like at the very beginning, it's like you see at her, it's just like, some beautiful woman, and that's that. But then when you start feeding the model and when you start getting information, you'll see what will happen. So next, I'm gonna go here to this spreadsheet and explain you something. Like down here, we have the creative workflow. I filled most of the information here. In order to move faster, I'm gonna do a couple of prompts so you see how it works. I'm gonna give a little bit more zoom here. Okay, so we have the prompts here, the questions. So at the first part, as you can see here, we are working only with the BART model and with Google Spreadsheets. So why BART? Because we just want to expand. We're not looking for extremely advanced responses. We just want to expand. So from here, sorry. Okay, so from here we can take this one or any of these questions here to go back to here and say, okay, What are the main searches a 45-year-old woman and other look for in Mexico? So from here, the only thing that we're interested is like what things are relevant for our project or for our client project and what are not. So from here, we can say like, okay, health and wellness, super important, beauty and fashion, maybe not that important, personal development, travel, home, garden, technology, news. Okay, we go here and see other drafts. And let's say, okay, we have health again, and so on. So we take this information here. What we do right now is like we paste it on here, and then we select some of them. Let's say I already selected some of them here. So then we go a little bit more inside of the, of the problem. So let's say, what are the main searches a 45-year-old woman and older look for in Mexico related to health? So right now, what we start doing is like going inside of every and each one of these worlds. So let's say menopause, hormone replacement therapy, weight loss, diet and nutrition, exercise, stress management, and so on. So if you see these, like most of these are extremely relevant for the project. So what we do now is like we take them and go back to this main board and start to expand in all of these directions. Once we get here, we say we start working with our consultants. So let's say, what are the causes? Like one of the things that we found, like from these health issues, is mobility issues, arthritis, and people having a lot of problems with moving around. And we said like, okay, let's try with that, and we started expanding on that. So I'm just gonna start showing you just the results to fast forward the process. So what we did here was we took the whole consultant, which is like all of the information that is here. We created a prompt, which is like, hi Mario, I need you to tell me what are the main causes of that generate mobility issues in women above 45 years old, and then feed this to the model and put it here. And then he said like osteoarthritis, osteoporosis, menopause, chronic conditions, obesity. When you start seeing this, and when you understand that we don't have like from the beginning, like 30 minutes ago, this team like had no idea where to go, and now we have all of this information that help us and helps them understand like how to grow these ideas, because they need to land on some kind of communication to be able to talk to these buyer personas. So at that moment, what we started to doing was like, okay, let's expand on causes. What causes these problems? What are the motivations for a person that wants to fight mobility issues? And it's like independence, quality of life, health and well-being, family and caregiving responsibilities. We use this one. I'm going to show you some examples. Emotional well-being, social engagement. Then from here, again, we make a short selection and then keep building on that. Then privation. What are the main things that people that has a problem can do? So these are the things that they cannot do. They have limited social interactions, reduced physical fitness and strength, increased risk of falls and injuries, challenge with transportation, etc. Then we go to fears, like what are the main fears a person with these problems will have? It's like loss of independence, decreased quality of life, increased risk of fall. So right now we have a lot of context in order to start creating. So the next step that we go here is we expand these attributes. The next thing that we do is like we take some of these keywords, go to keyword planner, then do some clustering and understand like what are the things that people are looking the most, just to understand what are relevant and what are less relevant. So, and then we start expanding from here again. We go to this like psychological profiling, which is like these causes, motivations, fears, and everything. And we see it here again. And when you see her and you have all of this context, you start to understand what she is and what she's not. And then you keep going down. So one of the things that we got from here was a lot of things that had to do with grandparenting. Yeah. So it's like, when you think of this woman, you say like, well, yeah, like grandparenting, but like you have like no context to start building anything. So from all of these contexts that we had from before, we'll say, okay, we have, like this grandparenting, like she's afraid of maybe, enjoy her life with her grandson. But why? What are the things? And then we get like amazing information. It's like she's very worried about her physical condition, and she's afraid that she might feel like stressed and tired. So she prefers to tell her daughter not to bring her grandchild because she doesn't want to feel bad. And it's like, and then you can start building from there. Then we started expanding into mobility and sports and found as things like, what are the main fears that a person like Camila has when she thinks about practicing these sports, jogging, hiking, swimming, and so on. So the fear of suffering injuries in her joints or feet, fears of facing difficulties and dangerous terrain, etc. In yoga, same thing, fear of not being flexible enough or having difficulties, fear of feeling uncomfortable or embarrassed in practicing in groups. Then we start like from here, like stage one, like fears and mixing. So it's like, what are the fears related to this and this and this stuff? Then we get situations, like from the previous fears, and we did like a structure like this. Mario, based on the previous answer, create situations that allow Camila, that allow Camila fears of X situation to be visualized in detail. So we asked ChatGPT like to create a situation just to understand what's in there. So playing at home, Camila enjoys her grandson visits to her house. However, her fear is not being able to move properly worries her. Fear of not being able to get up quickly to avoid hurting your grandson or her grandson, or not being able to practice in the floor games due to a lack of mobility. Why in the floor? And here's when you don't, my recommendation is like read in between the lines. If you just check this and say like, oh, that's amazing, you're losing the whole thing. Like read in between the lines. Like the whole thing, the whole exercise is just to be able to be an amazing curator of everything that the platform will bring to you. So in this case, it's like, it'll be like, okay, so she's afraid of playing floor games. Why? Because she needs to kneel down. And if she kneels down, she maybe won't be able to stand up. So basically, then we take all of this information, put it here, and say to like this ChatGPT plugin, okay, now create a situation in a photorealistic way that captures like all of these stories. Like until this moment, we haven't spent more than 50 minutes with the team. Then we see a Camila, and then we start seeing these situations. So if you see Camila and you see this situation, you see like, well, yeah, this is exactly what she can do, you know? She wants to play with her grandson that looks like her grandson because of her age, and she's in the floor kneeling down and having a lot of fun with him. So now you can say like, okay, we have something very interesting to move on from. So then you say like, okay, who was the other people that she's around, like her husband, her parents, etc., her partner, etc. And with mobility issues, you cannot go, hiking because this person is afraid that she's going to break a foot, etc. So it's like basically what happened at the end, and I'm closing with this, is just we passed from our Frankenstein to our AI workflow. So we receive a client brief. Next day we do a workshop. We take from 3 to 4 days to arrive to this with SEM ads, with landing page text, with image. So we can present in the first day of the next week, like between 6 to 8 different campaign ideas. So in that moment, the client will say like, this one yes, and this one no. Why? And that process will tell us exactly in which direction we should go, which is the most precious thing for us during, like all of this process. I'm gonna send you this because I know I expanded my time, but one of the things that I'll have to say is that in times like this, when time is really the enemy, we should make AI workflows our best ally. Like definitely it's not just getting a prompt to extract a copy. It's just like how can we leverage the whole process in our companies, in our agencies, not to be and not being amazed or like shocked because something amazing came out of AI. No, we should develop processes in order for us to be able to understand better our clients in these extremely constrained timeframes. Thank you very much. Sorry for taking so much time.
It's okay. We have some questions. Daniel was writing down some questions.
Quite a bit.
Maybe
Yeah.
you want to start with the questions?
Well, I really like the parts you were finishing with. Like this time we need to be building the processes, and the question that just connects to this right away is the presented process, all of that design in between different tools, is it something that was adapted from the previous pre-AI era you've been using at your agency, but now you optimize it with these tools, or is it something that you based completely from scratch on the situation that you are given in, like for example in this situation with the clients you were describing? Um, so I hope the question is.
Yeah, perfect. I completely get it. Thank you so much. Yeah, actually, like the thing was that we felt that we were failing massively. You know, it was that. It was not that the creative wasn't amazing. It wasn't that. It was just like, how do we get this thing done in this time with these time constraints? You know, and it's like, and how don't you make your creative team work nonsense hours? You know, like late night, weekends, just to get this delivered because it's not fair. You know, like so how and then it's like, how do you get like a really good job? And we tried with AI, and it was really bad. You know, like it was just like nonsense stuff. And then
Right.
it's like, okay, how can like from your question, like is this something that we did before? Not like this. Like definitely not like this. It is something that we have been building for months. Yes, we just didn't have two tools, which are BART, that changed a lot of like in this first part of the expansion, and second, we didn't have ChatGPT 4,
Right.
because the creation of these very complex situations, like with ChatGPT 3, they were okay, but you know, like they were not like, oh my god. It was just like, oh yeah, sounds about right. So what we've done is like pass from these situations in which we have to say to clients like we will really love to take your project, but it's just irresponsible, you know, to the point that we can say to them, try finding other agencies. We will give you, you know, something very interesting to look at in a week. Like we'll give you 5 campaigns so you can check it. And if it makes sense, we can build from there. And if it doesn't, no problem. And we don't have to kill ourselves to get that done, you know?
Right.
So basically is that like the problems that we have right now are very different from the problems that we received like 10 years ago. Which people like, no, we have 6 months for this. Like right now it's like, dude, we're gonna get close in a week. So you just need to run. So you should like, the way we build it was because of this constraint. I hope I respond to your question.
Yeah, absolutely. So this was a new process built in this situation you were pushed in with this new constraint of time. Awesome. Something that I can say right away, and this is actually a nice reminder to all of us. I can just see the pattern. It's been repeated in the previous sessions. This shows in this session as well. You guys have been have been telling the same thing. The great work starts with combining the different inputs and outputs from different tools. The same thing have been taught in the sessions related and focused more on the visual parts, where we had AI artists who combine different tools, use collages and different work tools in one complex workflow. I really like that you went away from just prompting the final answer from just single question, but putting it in a complex workflow of different inputs and outputs. So basically, in case we need a meaningful output out of anything AI related, we need to find a way to combine different tools and go through different input points.
Definitely, yeah.
Do you guys have any?
Now the question is like for me, when do you realize that you have to change the prompt, or like sometimes when you get to a booklet, how you get out of it, how you, for example, know when you need to change the tool, or when you realize maybe this doesn't work?
Yeah, is I think that's the most complicated task, when you start to build this stuff, because honestly, at the very beginning, what you want to do is like build an amazing campaign for this client, and everything will come out. It never does. So what we do, like our approach is like zoom in and zoom out. Zoom in the project and zoom out from the project. So for example, for some clients, we have done this with like wine subscriptions, with like health programs like the one I show you, with people that sells like high-end carpets. We said like, okay, like it's very easy to get scared about health, but like who gets scared about carpets? Like nobody will get scared. And definitely the process, what show us is that, yeah, everybody's scared. When you have to make a decision, you're scared. You're scared because like you're gonna buy a, let's say like $2,000 or euro carpet. It's like you're scared that this thing is not gonna look like you, and that is that the you think it's gonna be at your home. It's like, damn, like I really don't like this stuff. So you can always like build from fear. So what I'm trying to say is like when we jump into these clients that were not like like scary, like real scary situations, what we found is like the easiest way is to go up, to zoom out from the problem. And if you don't get like really good information, like our rule right now is like if the 50% of the list that you get is not good, you need to zoom out or you need to zoom in. Because when you get like 70% of the feedback, like from the list you ask, like, okay, give me 10 examples of blah, blah, blah. And if from this list you get like 2 examples, you zoom out. And then go like a level up and ask. And it's like, okay, give me more. It's like, maybe you get 2 or 3, or maybe you get 7. It's like, okay, right now, like I'm arriving to a better situation. And then you zoom in again. It's like, okay, maybe like carpets. It's like, well, maybe you don't get information from carpets. It's like, I'm gonna go up. It's like home decor. Okay, it's like, no, that was too far. It's like, okay, let's go for I don't know, high-end luxury, blah blah blah, and then you get it. And if not, like you go down. It's like, okay, specific types of carpets. Like maybe let's go a little bit down and ask this one. And that's the process that it'll get you to the final.
We can say that it's a try and error, and
Yeah.
like, whenever you see a place that is going well, you go deeper.
Yeah, we're what I showed you right now. We're building a SaaS product right now for this to be open to everyone, because it needs to be open to everyone. Definitely, we're like just like being amazed by this stuff, and it's like no, people need to access this. Like if you're a company owner and you want to share, and you want to talk to an agency, but you have no idea how to talk to an agency, this is a really good tool, for you to tell them like it'll look something like this. And for that, what we realize is that the easiest way is just like to give like industry, industry market segment, etc. And then in the prompts, like to go up and down. So basically, what we did was like mimic that, so clients could go like up and down of the process, and then like actually nail the next steps.
I mean, asked about outputs. Can I just put this in? Working with LLMs, specifically ChatGPT, well, no matter 3.5 or 4, we often run into this problem with data being practically made up, or like outputs sometimes being made up from by the module itself.
Yeah.
My question is, working in this complex workflow, how do you validate outputs in between this?
Yeah, that's a great question. Like what we have seen is like there are like two worlds, like a very factual world, and something that we called in this model that we built like the psychological profile. The psychological profile is very difficult to factualize, and it's very easy to get impressed with. That's what I tell like our teams, like be aware of that, because once you see something amazing in 1 second, you say like I have to stop thinking, which is like from what I think like where your question is coming from. You shouldn't just like jump into this stuff, get all of the information, and go to the clients like we did something amazing. You need to double check this information, and it'll be very responsible not to check it with ChatGPT. And what have we done in the past? Like we take these prompts and then ask ChatGPT, or like it's like this crazy. Like tell me where I can find more information about this. And most of the time, what it does is it creates a link that goes nowhere.
Yeah.
That's nuts. Like for me, it was just like, oh, maybe this page was just like taken down, and then like it was very consistent that it'll say whatever he, she, or it, I don't know how to call that thing, wants, but it'll tell you something very fast. So first step is like take this information and put it in a box. Second thing, I would recommend to go to Google, and what I do is like I take like the full prompt, the full response, and put it on Google, and then check on Google if the complete thing is actually true. It helps when you use, I always forget this name in English, like yeah. Yeah, when you quote, maybe not the whole thing, but like parts of this thing, because you'll get like the complete structure, and sometimes what it does is just like takes it from some page. So when it comes to facts, to like real facts, that's one like what I think is a really good approach. When it comes to psychological profiling, which is like fears, motivation, and all of that, you really have to go at the beginning with your gut feeling. If you have access to a consultant, go straight to a consultant and tell the consultant, look at this, what of these things make sense to you? Because the other approach is to tell the consultant, okay, go out there, get some information, do your research, and come back. It'll take weeks. But if you say like, does this thing make sense? And the person says like, this is completely nonsense, okay, you'll take that one out. And if not, go back.
you could say with this process, you help the researchers to look at this topic if it will work for us. Instead of wait for them to come out with topics, you can offer them 10 topics. Tell me which is more relevant, for example.
Totally, like totally. And they will, it's very easy for them because they will see it and it's like, yes, 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 nope, like completely no, and then keep going. So it's like, ya le llamo. So it's like, in that sense, it helps, like in our case, it helps three people. One, lawyers. I know we don't love helping lawyers, but but it helps them. How are we doing this? Like we take, like if any of you guys have run Facebook ads or Meta ads or any of these ad campaigns, you have this area which is policies. You know, what are the policies for Meta ads? Which nobody understand and nobody will ever read in their entire life. You like throw that thing and then, yeah, no, it does. It's not passing, and then you go back and forth and lose a lot of time. Right now, what we're doing with BART and with some plugins with ChatGPT is like we add the ads, we tell them the context, and we tell them read the policies and tell me where we are failing. And it will give, and for example, with like health products, it has tell us like, okay, you can run this ad because it's not illegal, but you should add in the footer of the page something that said these methods are not medically proven to ta 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 ta, and it was like, like honest, like honestly, this is everything that we have to do. And if you run the ads, nobody from Facebook ads or Meta ads will call you, tell you the problem is this. Like I'm gonna explain you what to do. They will tell you like, we have no idea. Bye. And you know, if you run ads there, like that's exactly what they do. It's like, no, we have no idea what's going on. So bye, like have fun. It's like, dude, the client on fire. So we've done that one. We also have done what have taken, you know, situations about, you know, like person. This is the pro. Like we create the consultant, then the situation, and then we tell them this one was nuts. With what's the name? Meta ads. So we took 1,300 audiences, like not the whole audience, but like interests. So we took the situations like, well, this is buyer persona, this is a product, this is a, you know, profiling. These are the Meta ads, you know, audiences. Create some audiences and explain why did you choose those, and click and it was like 30 audiences. The person that, you know, that was in that project was just like it'll take me like, you know, like 3 days just to do something like this, and just like imagining like, oh, maybe if we approach it from the food side, is a person that is interested in eating better. The guy's like, I didn't even know that that person was interested in food, but now I know that I can expand in this audience if the creatives are built of a person that is, you know, eating with her friends and blah blah blah. So it's just like there are like many approaches to help everyone around us to get faster, because what we want is everyone to be fast.
I think like we will need to do another master class to you to explain
Sorry.
many things to how to use it, but thank you very much to show us your workflow was very interesting, and how you are mixing tools and how you are putting to your techniques as a marketer into these digital tools, and how you are leveraging the models itself, because it's very powerful what you're doing.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you.
It was a real pleasure to see the whole workflow and see the creative thinking behind the processes. It's
Thank you very much.
appreciate it.
Thank you, mate.
And thank you for the people who watch online. We will send the recording and see you in the next masterclass.
Thank you very much, mate.
Thank
It was a pleasure. Have a beautiful day. Any questions that you have that you want to pass through, like just send it to us. Like we're in love with this stuff and we just want to share like this with everyone.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Bye bye.